Next, by the design, capacitors limit the speed and response of the circuit. And by the time they charge up, release information, you're missing the crucial detail in your audio. And this is imperative when you're recording very high detailed, high quality signal. By using the DC coupled circuits, we ensure that even the fastest transients are responded to. Lastly, we leave equipment on for many hours and it gets hot. Capacitors by nature can dry out and can be quite costly to change. You know, you take a Neve console, which is 30, 40 capacitors in the channel, times 48, and that's a lot of capacitors that could go wrong, could need servicing every 2-3 years. You know, by using our DC coupled circuits, we minimize maintenance and repairs costs. We actually have a 0.3 failure rate in our analog consoles, which is something we're very proud of. So just to recap, the super analog circuits give you low distortion, high headroom. The ultimate, what goes in comes out. You have circuits that do not adversely affect or degrade the audio signal. You have better phase consistency, so very nice wide stereo imaging, but very tight bottom end. You know, this is why SSL is used by so many R&B producers in the States and the hip-hop guys, because the bottom end just sits in the mix really well. And again, you have the same design, the same components, made by the same people in the UK, but really with SSL love and care that we really do pride ourselves in. So I'm going to talk about the X-Rack modular system. So these are basically, it's like a Lego kit. You think of a child, you would take different pieces of the blocks and you'd build something, depending what you were thinking of. You can do the same with the X-Rack. You know, any type of system you want to build, you can do it. Whether you want a tracking system, you know, you want ultimate channel strips to come in. So you can add some mic pre's, you can add some compression, some EQ. Now, what I haven't added here, these are all based on the 9K console. But we've now built a compressor and EQ just like the 4K. So you can have a blend of both large format consoles and a smaller modular system. So this is a tracking system. You could also have a mixing system. We have summing modules, so it allows you to have multiple inputs into the X-Rack, and you have a master module that controls the main volume. You can have a mix insert, but I'll talk about that in a second. Also, the SSL has a system called Total Recall. Total Recall is something we designed, we developed, and it's found on our large format consoles. What it does is it allows you to store all the settings from the X-Rack. Also faders as well, if you're looking at the AWS 900 or the Matrix. And this is very useful when you're switching between multiple projects on a regular basis. I'll show you how it works, because from this far you won't be able to see. I'll explain it later, it's better. So let's have a look at the X-Rack modules currently available. We have the input module. This is a very nice mic pre, very clean, very transparent. You also have an instrument input, high and low pass filter, and also there's a record bus button that you can then sign it when you're using the summing modules. Next we have the VHD input module. This is based on the mic pre from the Duality console. The main difference is the VHD circuitry. This basically allows you to either keep the signal clean, but you can also dial in second and third harmonic distortion to add color. You know, we realize that it's very nice having this very transparent signal path, but some people like to change it a little bit. So by dialing in second or third harmonic distortion, you can copy a vowel sound, a more transistor, a blend between the two. So it gives you a lot more options with coloring the sound. Again, you have a high and low pass filter, and also you've got the listen mic compressor. Those who have worked on an SSL console or the old 4Ks, this was a standard feature. Has anyone downloaded the listen mic compressor from our website? No? Well, there's a free plugin. You don't have to buy it. And it replicates this listen mic compressor. What it was, before we released the 4K, if the engineer wanted to speak to the musician, or hear the musician, should I say, they needed to use a channel on the desk as a mic input. And we thought, it's a bit of a waste of a channel, really. So we had a dedicated mic input. You'd have a mic hanging down in the live room, and it would come through, and we put this very heavy compressor. So depending end up on water. Depending where the musician was in the room, the engineer or producer could hear them. So anyway, during a session in the 80s, in Townhouse Studios, the place that bought the first console, Peter Gabriel was recording a song called Reaper, and he had an engineer, Hugh Padgham, who was on the desk. And they were trying for a while to get the sound right, and it just wasn't happening. They tried different mic placements, different compressors, EQs. It wasn't working. So Hugh Padgham was a bit crafty, and he thought he'd try a little trick. So he muted all the mics on the actual console, went and moved the mic position to the back of the room, came back in, and Peter Gabriel was like, "What have you done? Thank you very much." "What have you done? That's it, that's the sound I'm looking for." And he said, "Well, you've just got one mic coming through, the heavy compressor from the listen mic compressor. I thought I'd try it out, you never know." He said, "Well, that's it, that's the sound I want." I said, "Record it, let's go." And there's a slight problem, we didn't have a direct output for it. We thought, well, you're just listening to the musician, you're never going to need to record it. So they called us up and said, "Look, you've got to send somebody down, we need to record this sound." So, as we always do, we take care of our customers, and we listen, we sent an engineer down, and he opened up the console, and was there all night soldering this dedicated output, which they could then record. And from then on, we made it a feature to have a fixed direct output. And this sound, this heavy compressed drum sound, became the famous 80s drum sound, which you hear on a lot of the Phil Collins records and many others during that time. So it's a free plugin. Go home tonight and download it. It won't cost you anything. Next we have the Dynamics module. So again, the same compressor from the 9K console in a nice small modular system. Very nice for drums. I make a lot of R&B music and dance. And for my kicks and snares, this gives it so much punch. And also if you're working with live drums, and you've got too much bleed on the mics, you've got a very nice gate, which will get rid of everything as well. And we've got the famous G stereo bus compressor. This is found on all of our consoles, and this is the glue to the mix that holds it all together and gives everything a really nice big sound. It is available as a 2 module for here, but also as a rack mount. The advantage, and I didn't tell you, is that it's actually cheaper if you buy the module and you pull it in the Minx, which is here. This is very nice. I'll talk about this in a second. Next we have the EQ module. So this is the 4-band EQ, between G and E curve. The G is a very variable bandwidth, very nice for shaping a sound. The E is more for surgical work. You can really fine-tune into a frequency and dial it in or boost it. And now we've got the summing modules. So this is what turns the X-Rack into basically a mixer. You have the master module. So you have 2 stereo buses, the mix and record. There's a mix insert for the bus compressor or anything else, but ideally you want to use one of these. You have a control room section, 2 speaker controls, solo, dim, and cut. Very flexible, very fully featured master module ready for the price. And you've got the input modules. The first is a 4-input module, so you have dedicated level, pan control. There's an insert as well in each of the inputs. There's a solo, and also you can route it to the record bus when you're actually recording stuff to your computer or to tape, if you're still using it. And lastly, we have the 8-input module. This is 4 stereo pairs, and as you can see, there's no level or pan control. Ideal for stems coming out of Pro Tools, Logic, but you just want to take advantage of the analog summing. There are 4 inserts in the first 4 channels, and there's a mono button for the stereo pairs, so everything is put to center. And as I mentioned, we've got Minx. Minx is a 2-chassis X-Rack. You don't get the total recall, because we couldn't fit it in there. But this is a nice portable solution. Either you're going on location, you want some nice mic pre's, or you want the bus compressor at a more affordable price, you can do it with this. I'll pass it around. And as I say, it's a credit crunch beater. We're all cautious of spending our money at the moment. Times are hard, but we do want good things. And with Minx and the mic pre, or any one or combination of these modules, really does make it an affordable option, but still keeping high quality.